Congressman Young, would you consider your time up here? Please come up. Congress, thank you.
Thank you, and thank all of you. I'm in awe now. That's the best Dan has ever been. I can do that right now. And he's really my teammate. I have to say that we work well together. He is a Marine. I'll forgive him for that. How many in this room are Marines? How many Army? Hurrah! All right. We have a friendly competition, and
Come on,
Air
Force.
I know the Air Force. My wife is a colonel or whatever she is. I'm a private E1 3 times. If you don't catch that, you don't know what I'm doing. I was a good soldier. I just didn't like certain people. But I will tell you that what Dan has said, the senator said, is really real, and I know you've heard it. This is the most important election. If we want to retain liberty and justice for all, the opportunity for improvement, if you wish to do so, fail if you wish to do so, but keep the government out of our yard. If they get elected, the government will be in your backyard, your front door, your bathroom, and your bedroom. And that really worries me a great deal. I'm an elder, I'm a senior citizen. And I worry about it for, everybody says, my kids, my grandkids. I want them to have the opportunity I had. And I will have to be a little careful because Dan's opponent, people forget one thing, I'm hoping Dan would mention it. He went and lived in California. He went down there and got really corrupted and came back here to be the senator. Buying a seat from Alaskans. That's what they're trying to do, and that's why it's so important. Now I had to be careful because I'm from California. Frankly, I came here 64 years ago. I came to a state that really just became a state. I came because I wanted that last frontier in the spirit of being able to be an individual, be free, and improve my lot if I wish to do so. And I was able to do that. I was able to live my dream. I don't want to see that lost. We have lost a lot of it already from actions of the federal government. I've been fighting them all the years and been somewhat successful, passed a lot of legislation. Contrary to what my opponent says, I still have a little clout. The senator was talking about A to A, which I think is probably the biggest legislation as the pipeline. I was in that. That was my bill. It wasn't Ted's bill. It was nobody else. It was my bill and John Melcher's bill from Montana. I went there, got sworn in on March 14th. 3 days later, they asked me what type of bill was I going to introduce for the Trans-Alaskan Pipeline. I said, well, I guess I'll introduce the Senate bill. And all it did was widen the right-of-way. That's all it did. And I said, well, and Sam Steiger, who was the ranking member, said, no, you're not going to do that. I said, what? He said, no, you're going to introduce this bill. And I looked at it. It widened the right-of-way, but it precluded any lawsuits. We built it in 3 years. You know what it'd take us today? It'd take us 300 years to build it. But we built it in 3 years. I had a little help, I have to admit that. We had an embargo. A lot of people forget that. Gas was 39 cents a gallon. But we couldn't get gas. We were shooting for people for gas. So we did that in 3 years. We got it done. We got it done bipartisan for the good of this country. And then along came the Alaska National Lands Act. I don't know how many people remember that, where they took the land that we had picked already, 27 million acres of land, and put it into a refuge or park or reserve, including another 67 million acres. And the group that did this, they did it very systematically where you have a body of state land here, this is A, and you have a body of state land down there, C. They picked B in between, so you couldn't go from A to C. So they really took our state away from us. They made us a territory by that action alone. Now we have to do with Dan's help, maybe with President Trump, he'll help us too, get that land right of ways back so we can develop our land for our benefit, for our people. And you look what Obama, the road was there in the southeast, no more timbering, no more mining, no more nothing, 17 million acres of land, no prosperity at all. And you look around this state, we're not doing the things we should because we have the impediment in our way. We're making progress. BLM now is doing a good job. We've got a Trump appointee. We need to recognize this state is a resource-oriented state.
Yes.
Yep.
It's been built on resources. It was first fur, then it was gold, and now it's oil and then fish, or fish and vice versa. But with resources, minerals, fossil fuels, timber, power, things that we need for the future of this state and this nation. But we have this group of socialists. You know, I hate to use the term Democrats, because I have some great Democrat friends. We have some great Democrats in this state. Bill Egan, Bob Ziegler. Give you an idea of who we had. And we built this state. But they've gone to that socialist bent. They're using the pandemic as part of the tool. And the rest of the riots as part of that. They're trying to destroy our country. And what we have to do as individuals, we talk, how many have voted in this room already by absentee votes? Oh, well, there's one. There's just one. I know there's probably more than that. I hope.
We're showing.
If you haven't voted absentee, get out and vote on that day, and I keep saying it. Because this race, not mine, this race, for the good of this nation.
Don, we're showing up to vote.
Okay, that's what I want. We have a senator. His race is actually more crucial than mine. Because if they take over with Schumer and that crew and they eliminate the filibuster, everything we work for will be gone. And I'm not being humble. His race is very, very important. Very important to the state, so make sure of that. Now, I do want your vote, believe me. I'll ask you for your vote. I'll go all night right now. But some people in my opponents say he's too old. Well, you know, I might file a suit against him for age discrimination. Oh, and I lost my clout. And she didn't even know what clout means. And you think about it, A to A, that was mine with Senator Sullivan. And you really think about, I have had more bills passed out this last year than any freshman in the whole Congress and any other congressman on the committee. And I have one signed into law by the president. The average time it takes a freshman to get a bill passed is about 10 years. So she says she's going back and do this, do that, and do that, and that's all nonsense. And you see the money that is being spent. They're saying, oh, Don Young can't be a chairman anymore. Well, I'm term limited, that's true, but I also dean in the House. I also serve on all the committees, and I know everybody there. You can go into that Congress right now and say, who's the congressman for Alaska? I'll bet you $1,000, or well, anybody won't say, Don Young. And on top of that, they either hate me or they love me. I don't mind that. I will tell you something. I don't mind it. If you're not doing anything, they have no real strong feeling one or the other, you're not doing anything. I want people to know this is Alaska, it's Congressman. He stands up for us and he fights for them. And I've done that 47 years on my 48 years. And I thank you for that. Now, I'm also one that realizes I have a lovely wife. He happens to be sitting there, back there in the corner with me and on the chair. And what a sideline story. She's a captain or colonel? Captain in the Air Force, flight nurse, Vietnam. And I was probably in one 3 times. And I like to tell the story. I love her, but I married her for another reason. I couldn't afford Obamacare. So I married a nurse. And then she says, when do you get the bill? But that's one of the joys of the job, of having a good helpmate. Somebody that stands by you, loves you, takes care of you, and is the balance. The balance of how I conduct myself. If I go too far left, she pulls me back to the center. If I go too far right, she pulls me back to the center. All this time thinking what's good for you in this great state of Alaska. I've loved this state. You've been good to me. I believe I've been good to the state. Our families are here. We work hard. And I'm not too darn old. I'm just getting started. Thank you very much. God.
Thank you, sir.
Questions?
Certainly. Are there questions that you would care to ask sitting in your seat? I'll bring you a microphone. Ben, maybe you bring some hands. Thanks.
I know everything hinges on this election. If we lose this election and we go to Biden and Harris, we just as well turn off the lights and call it the party's over.
That's right.
So, but let's go on the premises that we do win. And if we do win, when are we going to get a railroad up here to Alaska?
Well, that's part of the A2A. And I worked very hard when I was transportation chairman. We got the bridge built across the Tanana River. And we got the railroad built that will be built down to McKenzie Point. This is part of the system of development of resources. Most of our resources have been shipped out by sea, and I'm a mariner and I support that. But if you want to make it economical feasible, you have to have rail.
That's
so
right.
I'm very excited about that item. We will have rail. I think it's closer than many people think. I'm one that believes that, all our resources, we have a lot of resources. Every one of them but one has been shipped out in the raw because we didn't have energy to make and add value to it. I'm big on it. I would love to see the Cincinnati Dam built, that lake being built. I'd like to have that and all of them smaller hydro sites around the state being built. We're out on the Aleutian Chain now working on a geothermal project on Alaska, which will be awesome. So we add power. This is the power center of the United States, Alaska. With the hydro we have, the gas we have, I'd rather sell the gas than use it, frankly. But the gas we have, and the geothermal, and yes, tidal, and all kinds of different things, we ought to be doing that. We ought to have an energy policy that will make this state great in the production of our resources and adding value to it. So we employ young people and keep ourselves going. You can't live on funny money, guys. That's what we've really been doing. That concerns me. I want to bring this up myself. More than anything, we spent $7 trillion in about 7 months, which is larger than the 1982 budget in total. And we're at $27 trillion in debt. If we don't get our country back on producing real wealth, to solve that debt, or at least bill it down,
Right.
we're in serious trouble. You're in serious trouble because inflation will hit us. And when inflation hits us, your dollars that you have, retirements, pensions, etc., lose buying power.
Right.
And we won't be anywhere. It'll be a disaster. And I keep telling people, we've got to get this country on an economic recovery, producing resources, manufacturing from to, and be a country that's self-dependent again. We can do that if we just put our minds to it. I'm lecturing now. What else we got?
Okay, we have time for one more question. Sir.
Thank you, Congressman Young. Thank you, Congressman Young. I want to thank you for your service to the country, military, and to the government service. I do have a question, though. A grave injustice was done to older folks back in the 80s, and that's double taxation on Social Security. When they took the federal government, we work all our lives, they take Social Security out of our pay. It's not a tax deduction. If you live long enough and you start getting it back, the government gives you back your own money, what happens? You get taxed on it again.
85%.
Up to 85%. And that started with Ronald Reagan in '84, and I've asked a number of times how you voted for that over the last 8 years and got no answer.
Well,
Okay, and let me follow this up. President Clinton increased the amount from 50% taxable to 85% taxable. That again is an injustice, and your Social Security, by the way, is added into your overall taxes. So that is added in as income. Singles is about $25,000 a year. After that, you get to pay income tax on your money again. Married couple is about $40,000 a year. That's not much. If you work all of your life and got any type of retirement and income, you're going to beat that, especially in Alaska. Okay? I want to know why I have to pay income tax twice on the same dang money.
Good point.
Thank you.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate the question because that's about 35 years ago. I am a senior citizen, and I will check on how I voted. I understand that my memory is correct that if the vote was taken and it was passed probably overwhelmingly, I don't know if I did vote for it against, it was 113 votes against the bill. But we'll look at that, because I know what you're talking about. I hate to say it, I'm on Social Security too. And most of that Social Security goes to taxes. And that was not the intent, and it's a challenge we faced. And we are writing a new tax bill now for this side of the aisle. And you've heard President Trump. He says he's going to lower taxes, and that could be part of that package. I'm glad you brought it up. We'll see. But I'll guarantee you, if Biden's elected, he's going to be raised again like Clinton did. Right up front. So,
And Sir Clinton, when I joined AMAC, I got my membership card and I got a letter from him that said about Social Security and the income tax. And in that thing that says support Social Security, it named Clinton as 85% and made no mention of Reagan. And that frosted my throat. If you're going to tell the story, tell the whole damn story. It started with Reagan. Okay? Thank you.
All right,
Sir, I am going to vote for you.
Thank you.
And I am going to vote for Senator Sol.
Thank you. I would suggest one thing. I wish our opponents, Dan and mine, would start telling the truth too. It's very frustrating when you serve the state like I have and Dan has, and I for a longer period of time, and hear some of this nonsense. You know, it's very, I'm an old riverboat captain, I'm a trapper, gold miner. I've made my living with my hands as well as this. People laughing, but I didn't hold a lot of jobs. And I know somebody's running against me of all kinds of, couldn't hold a job to try. And at least I've had mine for 47 years. But it is frustrating when you think about it, when they say these things that are just absolutely lies. I know how to solve all our problems, guys. Very simple. I'm going to pass a bill if you help me. We're going to repeal the dual law. You know the dual law was passed 1886? You couldn't fight a duel anymore. And you think about today, if a guy said something bad, I go and slap him in the face, we're going to go 10 feet with pistols. We'd solve that problem right away. There wouldn't be this nonsense fake news going around here. Keep that in mind. That's what it's all about. Thank you all, and remember this, it's only 20 days, and we all ask for your votes. I sincerely want this state to progress itself and go forth and prosper. With Dan and I, it will happen. Without you, it won't happen. It's all up to you, not us. God bless you all. Thank you.